All right, our final practice number 3. Just had to get my dog to stop barking. It says the following data was collected for an object traveling with uniform speed. It says draw a speed time graph for the data. So we can do this in a second, but I'm just going to try and figure out some of these other questions here. It says determine the slope of the line, and how does this tell, or what does this tell us about the object? And then determine the area under the line. I guess I can't answer any of those without doing the graph. But I can do number C, or letter C, which says determine the area under the line for the time interval. What does this value represent? So without determining it, because we just did some of those areas, we can tell what those represent. It represents distance, because that's what it did in the last question. So I'm going to write that here. It's distance is what it represents. I'm not going to actually graph this. There's really no difference in our graph than the last graph that we did. So determining the slope of the line, we're going to still do rise over run, just like we did before. And then what does this tell us about the object? Tell us the object is moving with uniform speed. So your rise over your run, your slope is never going to tell you if it's moving at a uniform speed, because that's really an average. So the only way you're going to be able to tell if it's moving at a uniform speed is really by looking at maybe the data here, or looking at the graph. And by looking at this data, I'm just going to look at it without doing a graph. You can maybe find some patterns. So between 9.8 and 10 here, it goes up by 0.2. Then from here to here, it goes up by 0.2. Then from here to here, it goes down by 0.2. Then it goes down by 0.1. And then up by 0.2. So if we look at that, we can really tell that's not uniform. There's not a uniform speed going on there, because it's not going up and down the same between all of those. All right. So really, by looking at the slope, you can't really tell whether it's uniform. By looking at the graph or by the data, you can tell, and this is not uniform. Okay. So I'm not going to graph that. I showed you how to graph. You would graph it exactly the same way. Your time will always be on the X and your speed will be on the Y, just like in these graphs here. All right, so that's topic 2, uniform motion and speed. If you have any questions about that, please get in contact with me. You can take pictures of your assignments or upload them onto the Google Classroom. Thanks so much and have a great day.